start without some words of thanks. Obviously, I'd like to start with Cindy from the Parker House at Monroe for donating the bags and the dessert. Cindy, thank you so much. Cindy, stand up, please. I'd like to thank our friends of the Senior Center who donated the flag pins today. Thank you, friends of the Senior Center. And obviously the staff of the Senior Center and our DPW for helping to arrange everything, how beautiful the setup was. Thank you so very much. A preemptive thank you to our speaker today, our keynote speaker, Seymour Lippert. Also, a word of thanks and recognition to our elected officials here. We have our State Senator, Linda Greenstein. We're also going to have our Assemblywoman, Tennille McCoy, here shortly. I'd like to recognize our council members, our council president, Miriam Cohen, our council vice president, Terry Van Zura, our Ward 1 council representative, Mike Markell, as well as our second ward representative on the council, Rupa Siegel. And I'll just finish off with a quick thanks and a happy birthday to our beloved Marine Corps, 249 years old. And just a solemn moment in your hearts, in your minds, in your souls. We lost two beloved members of our veterans community recently, Harold Wexler and Seymour Nussenbaum, two World War II veterans. Again, wonderful, wonderful people. Please keep them in your thoughts and prayers. All right, so my little speech here. So, been doing this veteran stuff, Memorial Day stuff for a couple of years now. And I always don't want to roll out the same speech. I think it's disingenuous. So I always look for inspiration, for some words to pop into my head. So normally the Stonebridge folks have a movie before Memorial Day. I watch the movie, I get inspired, I talk about it. But with veterans, I wanted to go in a different direction. And one of the greatest resources for me for inspiration is my father, who many of you know was a Coast Guard veteran back in the 50s. So, I have his uniform, his duffel bag, dog tags, some newspapers and stuff like that, but there was always this book that, he treasured so very much, and it was his manual, his training manual when he started. And I'm like, oh man, I gotta find that. So I dug deep into the Delina archives, the basement of my house. I had many things fall on my head as I was looking for it, and this past Thursday, I was able to find it. Still a little sore, but I'm okay. And one of the things I find very interesting, it has his name in there and his dog tag numbers and his company. But when I look at it and it says the Blue Jackets manual, I'm like, well, he was a Coast Guarder, and I look it up and it's the Navy. It's the Navy manual. So I guess at the time the Coast Guard used the Navy manual. But there's just a couple things in here that I just really found interesting, and I want to bring it to your attention. And in particular, this is going to segue to when I announce Cy Lippert to give some words about his life and career. One of the items in here, and it's under some pointers on, and it talks about some pointers on cleanliness and neatness, getting the words, smoking lamp, valuables, sick bay, mail, leave and liberty. But one of the pointers is about friends. So if you just indulge me as I read this short little paragraph. A man's best friends are his company commanders and other officers. They are trying to make a real man out of each recruit. Behind their strict discipline is a true friendship that knows no limits in an emergency. New shipmates will rapidly become friends, but a man should always be careful that he does not pick the occasional shirker or flower flusher for his friends. Go slowly at first and pick only the good men for your friends. My friends, you are all citizens of distinction here in Monroe Township. Veterans Day is about celebration, and to come together to celebrate is so, so very important, and again, to recognize you as valued members of Monroe Township. I do want to thank you.
I appreciate everything he said. And because he's already given you little of my history, I'm not going to be able to go further. The only thing I want to say before I get started is within 99 days, give or take, I will be 99 years of age. As a result, right now, my eyesight isn't that good. I'm legally blind. I can't hear, and I can't walk the way I'd like to. I wish I were back at 18 years of age again. But be that as it may. I want to thank Nancy and the staff here at the Senior Center for allowing me to be present. And again, I want to thank the mayor for giving me the honor of representing the World War II veterans who are still around and who have been around. I want to concentrate my little talk for a few minutes on my trip just taken to Normandy. As all of you probably know, this year was the 80th anniversary of D-Day, which is the World War II invasion of Europe, which started in France and Normandy. I had been accepted, very thankfully, by the American Airlines, by Gary Nussi Foundation, and by the United States government to be accepted as one of 57 World War II veterans that were taken to Normandy to be part of the celebration of World War II of D-Day. When we were accepted, we were told to take one individual with us to act as a guardian, and I was lucky to be able to take my wife, Carol, who basically saw everything and did everything along with the group. The pictures that you see in back were all basically taken by Carol, and I'm going to ask her later to talk to you and explain and tell you a little about the pictures and what happened over there at Normandy. We left United States, Dallas, Texas, to Dallas, Texas, May 31st, and on May 1st, we were left to go across in one airplane, 787, with only the veterans, 57 veterans, their guardians, and surprisingly, that doctors, they had one doctor for every 15 veterans, along with 2 nurses. They wanted to make sure that nothing happened to us. At any rate, we were taken over there to Paris, and the first day in Paris, we were taken over to the cemetery, the American cemetery in Paris, which held, if I remember correctly, about 2,000 American veterans who died in World War I. It was quite an experience, emotional as could be. We were then taken the following day off to Normandy, which was about 4 hours away by bus, and all veterans were in wheelchairs, whether they needed it or not. Again, because they wanted to be sure that they were taken care of and nothing happened. A number of the veterans, well, let me go back a second. I was apparently one of the youngest. It was being only 98. The other vets there was that I knew and got to know, one was 102, another was 104, and another was 107, which is quite something. I felt like a kid. At any rate, we went through the next day, we went over to Omaha Beach, and we were met by a lot of politicians, a lot of visitors, etc. I want to go back a second just to say that when we went from Paris to Paris, we went to the American Airlines headquarters. We were greeted by 10,000 or more people that were both members of the American Airlines headquarters and French tourists that were there. They greeted us like, well, royalty. We felt like that. We were so excited with the numbers that kept on thanking us for being there. And all the way through Omaha Beach, Utah Beach, and there was one other beach there that we'd been, where they all stopped everything as they pushed us through on the wheelchairs through each town. They stopped all business and they came over to us, their hands out to shake us, shake our hands, to thank us. As they put it, we thank you for saving our country, for giving us freedom. And these people were all either children, grandchildren, mothers, etc., that had been relatives of the people that were in Normandy during the invasion. It was so memorable, so great, that very frankly, I was on tears going through, being pushed through. We went to Omaha Beach. We had a few veterans that were actually part of the invasion on D-Day in 1944. They were taken down to the beach, carried, because Omaha Beach is up on a slight mountain almost. And they were taken down to the beach to show what happened there. When we went to the Utah Beach, they took all of us down to the water because they carried us over the sand. And by the way, they gave us each a rose, a long-stemmed rose, which we were to throw on the beach before we left. We had speeches given by dignitaries over there, which was actually, again, quite good. When we went to Utah, I had met a number of politicians. I met the Secretary of State, shook hands with him. I forget his name. Also Austin, the Secretary of Defense, and a number of different senators throughout the country. It was very good. Personally, the one that really came over and we had a discussion, and I told her my feelings about the politicians. And I'm not going to go into it detail. But it was Nancy Pelosi. And after we got finished talk, she kissed me and I kissed her. So it was a memorable personal situation. It was very good. I'm not able to talk about everything because of the number of minutes that I was given and allowed to talk. I would like to bring out for a second or two my own personal. My record, shows that I was in Europe and France. I was 18. My record showed participation in the Battle of Ardennes, which is in France, the Battle of the Bulge, which you all know and heard about, and the Battle of Marne, which was when we went into Germany. All of this was quite something. I know I'm jumping from one place to another, but I also want to bring out that over at Normandy, with the way the French were thanking us, me particularly, I was in tears at most of the time. And I felt personally that the way they thanked me for their freedom, for saving their country, I just began to feel maybe it was all worthwhile. It was quite something to be alive and part of it. And I was extremely thankful, grateful, that I was extremely lucky. I had no injuries except frozen hands and feet during the Battle of the Bulge. But that was taken care of. I don't know how much more to bring out at this point, but I want to thank all of you, each and every one of you, for listening to what I had to say. And if anybody had any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer it. And I want to thank every veteran for their service and appreciate everything that they've done. Thank you, one and all.
Good morning. So first and foremost, just want to thank each and every one of you for being here this morning and the celebration. Thank you so much, Mayor, for always making sure that we celebrate our veterans. And so we just have a proclamation here on behalf of Senator Linda Greenstein, myself, and Assemblyman Wayne D'Angelo. And so this annual event, championed by Mayor DeLina, serves as a vital reminder of our community, respect, and gratitude for our veterans, and celebrating their commitment to duty, courage, and making sure that we continue to foster a deeper understanding of the profound impact that each and every one of you have on our lives and our freedom. So thank you so much.
I just want to add my thanks for your service in any of the wars. My father was a World War II veteran, so as I was listening to Mr. Lipper, I heard a lot of familiar places and themes. But each and every one of you is so important to all of us, and you are major people here in the Monroe community. So thank you, Mayor, and thank all of you for being here today.
Uncover as you pledge allegiance to the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Cover. So remain uncovered as the chaplain leads us in prayer.
Okay, uncover. You had to bear with me a little bit. My vision's not as good as it used to be. O God, eternal Father and everlasting King, King of heaven and earth, we render you acknowledgement of your supreme being over us and gratitude to your paternal solitude and watchfulness as we gather here in humble recognition of your divine providence. We beseech you to usher into our world of confusion and doubt the peace and tranquility which alone can come from you. Bless and protect our nation. Be merciful to our honored dead, the memory of whose valor, courage, and heroism inspires us to noble action and eternal vigilance in the preservation of our precious liberty and our inalienable rights to enduring happiness. Guide and direct our minds to a thorough understanding of our duties to you, to our country, and to one another. Awaken in our hearts the desire and the will to accomplish the ideals for which this nation exists, so that out of our determination and endeavor there may emerge a better world, a world founded upon faith and understanding, a world dedicated to preserving the individual rights and dignity of man, a world of tolerance and justice, a world intent on loving and serving you, our Lord. Amen. I didn't finish yet. Part two. Freedom is not free. Many have paid the ultimate price of life or limb for that cause, and many will continue to do so. Amen.
It's my honor to introduce the Mayor of Monroe Township, Mayor Stephen Deline.
Thank you, Jack. I'm going to try my outdoor voice here. My friends, we come together as a community to celebrate Veterans Day, but also the solemn component to remember those who gave their ultimate sacrifice. I first of all do want to thank our police and emergency services for coming here today. Our Parks and Recreation Department as well for helping to set things up. I also want to take the moment to recognize our elected officials here. We have our Council President, Miriam Cohen. We have our Council Representative from the 2nd Ward, Rupa Siegel. We have our Council Representative from the 3rd Ward, Charles DePiro. We have our Council Vice President, Terry Van Zura. And then our representative from the 1st Ward, Mike Markell. Thank you so much. I want to thank our neighbors, relatives, and friends that are here. It is so inspiring to see all of you here in support of our veterans. I don't know if he's here, but I always like to recognize the Eagle Scout and Marine Sean Evans, who helped design this as his Eagle Scout project. So we always like to thank Sean for that. Rolling Thunder's here as well. I do want to thank you for your continuing support for our veterans across this nation. Thank you so much for being here. as a special thanks to our veterans, especially our Monroe Township veterans, for I hope you feel the deep respect and honor that you wholeheartedly deserve for what you've done, your service to our nation. Thank you so, so very much. I also want to take this opportunity for a special remembrance for two men, World War II veterans who have recently passed away, Harold Wexler and Seymour Nussenbaum. If you recall, Seymour was part of the Ghost Army, and he had kept that secret of what he did for many, many years, just recently having the honor of the Medal of Freedom bestowed upon him. And it's funny, I tell this one story. I saw Seymour not too long ago at an event, and I'm like, Seymour, I said, where's the bling? Where's your medal? He goes, I'm sitting on it. And he was. He was in his walker, and in his little pouch underneath was his medal. But the question I asked, now obviously Seymour at that advanced age was very tough for him to get around. I said, Seymour, I said, was it worth it going all of the trouble, right, getting in the car, driving down to Washington, D.C., going before Congress, receiving the medal? Was it worth it, Seymour? He said, every moment to receive that medal, to be recognized for what he did. And it's all about recognition. So I come before you, Memorial Day, 9/11, Veterans Day, and I always look for words to inspire me. And the greatest resource that I have to me for inspiration for veterans is my father, a Coast Guarder in the 50s. And I went deep into the Delina archives and I found his training manual. And I said, let me take a look through it. Obviously, seeing some of the things my father underlined, what he was trying to learn. But there's something here I just want to, I mentioned it yesterday at our veterans event. And mind you, it was in the Coast Guard, but this was a Navy manual that they were using at the time. Some pointers on. And the category is pointers on friends. A man's best friends are his company commanders and other officers. They are trying to make a real man out of each recruit. There's laughing going on. You're allowed to laugh. Behind their strict discipline is a true friendship that knows no limits in an emergency. New shipmates will rapidly become friends, but a man should always be careful that he does not pick the occasional shirker or flower flusher. Now, I think I'm going to need a Navy man to tell me what a flower flusher is, but I don't think it's good. Go slowly at first and pick only the good men for your friends. My friends, I pick you with deep respect, with deep love and admiration for what you do. It's been now 70 years since it's become Veterans Day. It used to be Armistice Day. But 70 years ago today, it became Veterans Day. And we will continue this tradition to come together as a community to honor, memorialize. Every year we will be here and we will continue. And that is because of the freedoms you have given us. And it is deeply appreciated. My friends, God bless all of you. God bless your family. God bless Monroe Township. But most importantly, God bless the United States of America. Thank you so very much. We will now take a moment to present the wreaths. Call up our gentleman here. Now, the Chief of Police will be helping me.
Many did not choose to leave their homes to fight on distant battlefields. Many did not volunteer. They did not go to war for the thrill of battle. They answered a call to be part of something much larger than themselves. These ordinary individuals responded in extraordinary ways to horrific circumstances, rising to the nation's call to serve their communities and country. Since the American Revolution, men and women across this nation have answered the call, with millions fighting valiantly to protect our freedoms and way of life. Veterans Day, originally known as Armistice Day, was established to celebrate the end of World War I. On November 11, 1918, the First World War came to a close, and the legislation creating Veterans Day was dedicated to the cause of world peace and hereafter to be celebrated and known as Armistice Day. As time marched on and our nation faced further conflicts during World War II in Korea, veterans groups advocated for a change. They sought to honor all veterans from every war and conflict the United States had encountered, transcending the recognition of just those who served in World War I. Since then, we have acknowledged everyone who served and celebrated their service with reverence. We have awarded medals to many servicemen and women, etched their names into monuments, and named buildings and highways in their honor. Yet no tribute can fill the void left by a fallen soldier, sailor, airman, marine, or Coast Guardsman. And no number of medals can fully comfort those who remain. Today, across our nation, people gather to remember, honor, and express gratitude to those who have served. Our gathering here in Monroe Township, though small, is deeply meaningful to all of us present. While our numbers may be few, the sincerity of our tribute to those who served before us and those who serve now is what matters. At this moment, I want to express our profound thanks and appreciation to Mayor Delina, council members and staff of Monroe Township, and the Monroe Township school system for their unwavering commitment to organizing events that celebrate our veterans, and most especially for shepherding the creation of affordable housing for veterans in our community. Veterans matter, and this truth shines through in all that our township, our school systems, and our veteran clubs do. Thank you. Uncover, as I ask for a moment of silence and playing the taps.